Big news has shaken the MotoGP world. Carmelo Ezpeleta, the CEO of Dorna Sports and the highest authority in MotoGP, finally announced the official punishment for Marco Bezzecchi following his altercation with Marc Márquez at the Indonesian Grand Prix in Mandalika. The decision has sparked heated debate in the paddock and divided public opinion. Was the punishment fair or too lenient for such a dangerous manoeuvre? Let's discuss it. The drama began on the first lap and immediately changed the course of the race. Bezzechi was aggressive from the first corner. He tried to pass Marc Márquez on the inside while the world champion was in the lead. However, the high-risk manoeuvre turned into a disaster. In a tight area, the two bikes made violent contact while travelling at nearly 200 km/h. Marquez instantly lost his balance and was thrown off the track, and Bezzechi nearly fell too. Smoke, sand, and panic immediately enveloped the Mandalika circuit. The medical team moved swiftly. Marquez, who was lying on the side of the track, was rushed to the medical centre and then flown to Madrid for further treatment. The medical report revealed a fractured right collarbone and damaged shoulder ligaments, forcing him to miss the next two races and dealing a major blow to his chances of winning the world title. Meanwhile, Bezzechi only suffered bruises to his arm and knee. However, the emotional toll was far greater. Media scrutiny, public pressure, and criticism from his rivals made him the centre of a storm of controversy. Dorna Sports CEO Carmelo Ezpeleta spoke out. In an exclusive interview, the Spaniard outlined his views on the incident, describing it as a dangerous borderline between aggressiveness and recklessness. Ezpeleta firmly stated that Bezzechi's actions would be thoroughly reviewed. We have to assess whether this was a pure racing incident or an unnecessarily risky decision on the first lap, he said. The FIM stewards are conducting a thorough investigation, which includes analysing onboard cameras, drone viewpoints, and telemetry data from both motorcycles. They are primarily focusing on whether Bezzechi had enough space and control to overtake safely. Ezpeleta added that incidents like this serve as an important reminder for all riders. While aggressiveness is part of MotoGP, there are limits. When a manoeuvre results in serious injury, responsibility must be questioned, he stressed. Although Ezpeleta did not impose the sanctions directly, his statement was seen as a strong signal about the direction of future stewards' decisions. His remarks seemed to indicate that Dorna and the FIM were now taking a firm stance against aggressive actions on the track. It was more than just a warning. It was an indication that MotoGP would tighten its rules regarding rider safety in the early corners, where collisions and major incidents often occur due to reckless manoeuvres and a lack of calculation between riders. According to several paddock insiders, Marco Bezzecchi may face severe sanctions from the stewards. These penalties could range from a long lap penalty in the next race to disqualification from the entire series. One MotoGP commentator unofficially suggested that Bezzechi could receive a race ban, especially if telemetry data analysis showed that he took an extreme risk without a clear strategic reason. This situation sparked a heated debate among observers and fellow riders, who felt that Bezzechi's actions had crossed the line from courageous to reckless. The first lap is not the time to gamble with the safety of others, the commentator stated firmly. If the data shows that Bezzechi blocked the track without sufficient space and caused dangerous contact, then disqualification would not be an excessive penalty. MotoGP must send a strong message to prevent incidents like this from happening again. Massimo Rivola from the Aprilia camp appeared to calm the situation. He acknowledged that Bezzecchi's manoeuvre was daring, but rejected the idea that his rider was reckless. Marco is a rider who always pushes the limits, but he doesn't want to hurt others. We will stand behind him and respect the investigation process, Rivola said. However, Ducati took a much harsher tone. Team manager Davide Tardozzi considered the incident an act that could not go unpunished. We respect the courage of every rider, but there's a big difference between being aggressive and being reckless, Tardozzi said. Bezzechi crossed that line. His manoeuvre on the first lap had no room for error and lacked racing logic. When a rider's actions cause injury, the consequences must be clear. A severe penalty is the only fair course of action. Tardozzi continued in an angry but controlled tone. Marc lost 2 races, Ducati lost important points, and the public missed out on what should have been a great spectacle. If MotoGP wants to uphold sportsmanship, such actions must be punished, not justified in the name of aggressive racing. This was not just another incident. Despite this, Tardozzi confirmed that Marquez had forgiven Bezzechi personally, but emphasised that an apology does not absolve Marquez of professional responsibility. Marc is a great rider, and, as many know, he has a big heart. He graciously accepted Marco's apology, not taking the matter personally. However, behind his mature attitude, the message was clear. Incidents like this should not be taken lightly. We cannot let this pass without setting a clear precedent. MotoGP must enforce the rules for everyone's safety, he concluded firmly. This signals that safety remains an absolute priority amidst the intense competition on the track. Ezpeleta reiterated that the essence of this sport is not only about being the fastest, but also about maintaining integrity and safety on the track at all times. He emphasised that, although MotoGP has evolved into a highly competitive arena, the moral responsibility among riders must not be forgotten. Every rider must realise that one wrong decision at 300 km/h can change someone's career forever, he said in a serious and firm tone. He emphasised the importance of reflection for all riders following the incident in Mandalika. Dorna confirmed that a formal disciplinary hearing will be held after Bezzechi recovers to ensure a fair and transparent process. The results of the initial investigation will be announced before the next round at Phillip Island. This step demonstrates that MotoGP will not tolerate actions that endanger the safety of anyone on the track. The medical team in Madrid confirmed that Marquez had undergone surgery to repair his collarbone. The rehabilitation process is expected to take 2 to 3 weeks, but the Ducati team doctor will make the final decision on his return to racing. In a short message on social media, Marquez wrote, "I'm fine. Pain is part of life for a rider, but I'll come back stronger. Thank you for all the support." His post was immediately flooded with supportive comments from other riders, including Jorge Martin, Fabio Quartararo, and even his longtime rival, Valentino Rossi. Veteran Italian journalist and MotoGP observer Carlo Panat also considered Bezzecchi's manoeuvre too risky. Bezzechi is young and fast, but sometimes emotional. He wanted to prove himself to Marquez, and forgot that the first lap is not the time for heroics. This should serve as a lesson for all the newcomers. Meanwhile, former world champion Casey Stoner wrote on his X account, "Aggression is good, but when it injures someone, you've crossed the line." The Bezzecchi-Marquez incident has sparked debate among fans and analysts. Has MotoGP lost the balance between entertainment and safety? Will Bezzechi face a heavy penalty, or will this incident be classified as a racing incident? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.